Have you ever wondered why some people seem to possess unshakable serenity, even in the face of the worst situations, while others despair at the slightest setback? Today, we'll explore the teachings of a man who discovered the secrets of true freedom and the art of living well. I'm talking about Epictetus, a philosopher who was born a slave and became one of the greatest masters of practical wisdom humanity has ever known. In this video, you'll discover not only who this extraordinary thinker was, but also how to apply his teachings to your daily life. We'll explore the principle that can revolutionize the way you see problems, understand what it means to be truly free, and discover practical tools you can use right now to live better. If you're seeking more peace of mind, purpose, and control over your life, stay with me until the end, because what you'll learn here has the power to transform your perspective on practically everything. To understand the power of Epictetus's teachings, we need to know his story. Imagine the situation: being born a slave in ancient Rome in the 1st century AD. His very name, Epictetus, means acquired in Greek. He was literally property. For years he lived under the dominion of others, unable to choose where to live, what to do, or even whether he would be treated well. But here's the fascinating thing. It was precisely in this condition of extreme external limitation that Epictetus discovered something revolutionary. He realized that even though he was a slave in body, his mind remained free. No one could control his thoughts, his judgments, his internal choices. This discovery changed not only his life but influenced all of Western philosophy. When he was finally released, Epictetus became one of Rome's most respected Stoic philosophers. His lectures attracted students from across the empire, including the future emperor Marcus Aurelius. Interestingly, he never wrote anything down. All we know of his teachings was compiled by one of his students, Arrian, in the work Discourses, and the short manual known as the Enchiridion. Now you might be thinking, okay, an interesting story, but what can a philosopher from 2,000 years ago teach me about my modern life? The answer is much more than you might think. We live in an age of chronic anxiety where people feel constantly overwhelmed, out of control, trapped in cycles of worrying about things that haven't even happened. Epictetus's Stoicism is not a distant theoretical philosophy. It is a set of practical tools for dealing with precisely these challenges. His teachings on control, acceptance, and inner freedom are more relevant today than ever before. In a world bombarded by news, social media, and constant pressure, learning to distinguish what is within our control from what is not can be the difference between a life of serenity and one of constant turmoil. If I had to summarize Epictetus's entire thought in a single idea, it would be this: there are things that are under our control and things that are not. Under our control are our judgments, our desires, our aversions, and in short, all our actions. Not under our control are our bodies, our property, our reputation, our social position, and in short, everything that does not result from our actions. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But this distinction is absolutely revolutionary. Think about the last time you felt truly stressed or anxious. I bet it was because of something beyond your control. Traffic, someone else's reaction, the outcome of a job interview, the weather over the weekend. Epictetus teaches that all unnecessary suffering stems from a basic confusion. We try to control what we can't control and neglect what we can. It's as if we spend our entire lives pushing against a wall, wearing ourselves down, when we could simply choose a door. Let's make this more concrete. Imagine you're driving and someone cuts you off in traffic. Your automatic reaction might be anger, cursing, or stress. But let's apply Epictetus's filter. What is within your control in this situation? Can you control the other driver's behavior? Number. Can you control whether it will delay you? Number. Can you control your emotional reaction to it? Absolutely. The person who shut you down may have done so out of distraction, haste, or simply because they didn't see you. They don't even know you exist. So why should you give them the power to determine your emotional state? Why allow someone who doesn't even know you to ruin your day? Another example, you're worried about a presentation at work. What's in your control? The preparation? Yes. The rehearsal? Yes. Your posture during the presentation? Yes. But what about your colleagues' reactions? Your boss's mood that day? Will it rain and disrupt traffic during the meeting? None of this is in your control. Epictetus said, "It is not facts that trouble men, but the judgments they make about those facts." This quote changed the way I view difficult situations. What really troubles us is not what happens, but the story we tell ourselves about what happens. When you truly internalize this principle, something magical happens. You stop wasting energy on things you can't change and channel all your strength to what really matters. Your choices, your attitudes, your values. Now we come to one of Epictetus's most profound concepts: true freedom. For him, most people live in invisible prisons, constructed by their own expectations, fears, and unbridled desires. Being free doesn't mean being able to do whatever we want. That's libertinism. Being free means not being a slave to anything or anyone, including our own impulses. Epictetus teaches that we are free when our choices arise from our reason and our values, not from external pressures or automatic emotional reactions. Think about it. How many times have you done something you didn't want to do just to please others? How many times have you held back from doing something important because you were afraid of other people's judgment? How many decisions do you make based on what others will think rather than what you truly believe is right? The philosopher tells an interesting story. He says that a truly free man can enter a tyrant's house, look him in the eye without fear, and say exactly what he thinks. Not because he's brave or reckless, but because he doesn't depend on the tyrant's approval or threats to maintain his inner peace. His self-esteem is in no one's hands. This doesn't mean being arrogant or disrespectful. It means having a solid foundation within yourself, built on clear principles that doesn't sway with external storms. It's the difference between a tree with deep roots, which can bend with the wind but never break, and a dry branch that any gust of wind can knock down. Before we continue, let me ask you something. If you found this content helpful, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. This helps me immensely to continue bringing you reflections like this, and ensures you don't miss future videos on practical philosophy and psychology. It's quick, and it makes a huge difference in helping the channel grow and reach more people who, like you, seek a more conscious and balanced life. Returning to inner freedom, Epictetus teaches that our judgments are the only thing truly ours. We may lose money, health, relationships, prestige, but our power to interpret and respond to events remains with us forever. Therein lies our dignity and strength. He recounts his own experience of slavery to illustrate this. Physically, he couldn't go where he wanted or do what he wanted, but mentally he was freer than his own master because he wasn't bound by unrealistic expectations, didn't depend on external things for his inner peace, and didn't allow circumstances to determine his worth as a person. This inner freedom has profound implications for how we live. It means you can be experiencing financial hardship and still maintain your dignity. You can be facing illness and still find purpose and even joy. You can be in a job you don't love and still choose your attitude and seek to grow within the circumstances. The truly free person, according to Epictetus, is one who wills what happens, rather than waiting for what they want to happen. This isn't passivity or conformity, it's wisdom. It's understanding that life will bring difficulties, losses, and unexpected changes, and that our strength lies not in avoiding these things, but in how we choose to respond to them. Now let's get to the really important part, how to put all this into practice. Epictetus wasn't just a theorist, he was a practical teacher who developed specific exercises to train the mind and develop virtues. I'll share some of the most powerful techniques you can start using today. The first technique is negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum. It sounds pessimistic, but it's actually liberating. The idea is to dedicate a few minutes a day to imagining difficult scenarios that could happen. Losing your job, getting sick, ending a relationship. The goal isn't to become anxious, but to prepare your mind to accept that these things are natural possibilities in life. When you calmly visualize these situations, two things happen. First, if they actually happen, you won't be caught off guard and will be able to react better. Second, you develop genuine gratitude for what you have now. That job that sometimes irritates you, that health you take for granted, those people you love, all of these become more precious when you understand they're not permanent. The second tool is the discipline of judgment. Whenever something bothers you, stop and ask, what exactly is bothering me here? The event itself or my interpretation of it? More often than not, you'll discover that the problem isn't what happened, but the story you've created about it. For example, your boss criticizes you in a meeting. The fact, he said critical words about your work. Your interpretation. He hates me, he thinks I'm incompetent, he's going to fire me, everyone must think I'm a failure. See the difference? The fact is neutral. Your suffering comes from the interpretation, not the fact. The third practice is what Epictetus calls the discipline of desire. This doesn't mean not having desires, but cultivating them. Instead of wishing things were different from how they are, learn to wish them to be exactly as they are, and then work to improve them from there. If it's raining on the day of your picnic, don't lament that it won't be sunny. Accept that it's raining, because it is, and then consider your options. Reschedule, have the picnic indoors, or find a different activity that's equally enjoyable. A fourth very powerful technique is action reserve. Whenever you're about to do something important, mentally add the phrase "God willing" or "circumstances permitting." This isn't fatalism, it's realism. You do your best, prepare well, but recognize that there are factors beyond your control that can influence the outcome. This frees you from the pressure of ensuring results that are not entirely in your hands and allows you to focus on what really matters: your preparation, your effort, your attitude. Epictetus also teaches the importance of choosing your companions wisely. He says, "Tell me who you associate with, and I'll tell you who you are." If you spend time with people who constantly complain, who are negative, who constantly play the victim, this will influence your way of thinking. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who seek growth, who face difficulties wisely, who maintain a balanced perspective, this will elevate your own character. Finally, one of the most important practices is the daily review. Before bed, reflect on the day. When did you respond well to challenges? Where could you have made better choices? What lessons did the day teach you? This isn't about beating yourself up, but about learning and continually growing. Epictetus's art of living isn't about having a perfect or trouble-free life. It's about developing a mature and wise relationship with the inevitable ups and downs of human existence. It's about discovering that you have far more power than you realize. Not the power to control the world, but the infinitely more valuable power of controlling your responses to it. The teachings of this philosopher who was born a slave show us that true wealth lies not in what we possess, but in our ability to be happy with little and resilient in the face of loss. True freedom lies not in being able to do whatever we want, but in wanting to do what we consciously choose. And true strength lies not in never falling, but in our ability to rise with dignity and wisdom. When you begin to apply these principles, something fundamental changes in your life. You stop being a leaf in the wind, reacting automatically to every circumstance, and become the captain of your own inner ship. External storms still exist, but you navigate them with greater calm and purpose. The question remains, what kind of person do you want to be? Someone who lives at the mercy of circumstances, always waiting for the world to change so they can be happy? Or someone who finds serenity and purpose regardless of what's happening around them? Epictetus reminds us that this choice, the most important of all, has always been and always will be ours. The art of living well is within everyone's reach. We just need to have the courage to practice it. What about you? Which of these teachings has touched you most? How do you plan to start applying Epictetus's wisdom in your daily life? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Remember, knowledge only becomes wisdom when it is put into practice. Until the next video, and may you have a week of conscious choices and inner freedom.